Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanushalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. In this session, we will be discussing from the 20th verse of the 17th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Apratarkyad anirdeshyad iti keshu api nishchayaha atranurupam rajarshe vimrusha swa manishaya. The meaning of this verse is, there are also some thinkers who believe that no one can ascertain the cause of distress by argumentation, nor know it by imagination, nor express it by words. O sage amongst kings, judge for yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence. Bimbrusha Swamanishaya. So, this is the reply given by Dharma, the personality of religion, to Parikshit's question. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, the Vaishnavites, the devotees of the Lord, do believe, as above explained, that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Director, for he confirms in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15 that he, as all-pervading Paramatma, stays in everyone's heart and keeps vigilance over all actions and witnesses all activities. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto mattas smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So Krishna says, I am seated in everybody's heart as Paramatma, and I give remembrance, forgetfulness, knowledge to each and every living entity in this entire creation. The argument of the atheist that one cannot be punished for one's misdeeds unless proved before a qualified justice is refuted herein, for we accept the perpetual witness and constant companion of the living being. Atheists have got this argument that if you are saying that I am suffering because of some sinful activities I did in my previous life, where is the proof that I was existing in a previous life? And what is the evidence for my having performed some sinful activity in some previous life? This is their argument. But even though I don't remember, or I cannot produce an evidence, or any living being of this world cannot produce evidence in terms of material evidence, in terms of one's past life, still Paramatma is there in everybody's heart, who has existed eternally in the past, who continues to exist now, and who will remain after everything is finished. So he is the constant companion of every living entity in this material world. He is the perpetual witness of everything that is happening. And it is he only who remembers, who knows everything we have done, and who exactly directs Kala and directs material nature to inflict suffering or give enjoyment exactly according to our karma and according to the time the karma is fructifying. So everything is perfectly explained in the Vedanta philosophy. So Srila Prabhupada further says, a living being may forget all that he might have done in his past or present, but one must know that in the same tree of the material body, the individual soul and the supreme soul as Paramatma are sitting like two birds. This is the verse of the Upanishad. The Upanishad says, this body is like a tree and there are two birds sitting within on this tree. The individual spirit soul, the Jiva soul, and the super soul, Paramatma. Jivatma, Paramatma. Both of them are sitting. So the Upanishad says, one of them, the living being, is enjoying the fruits of the tree. Whatever the result of our actions is given to us as the fruits. And it is also described in the Upanishads that some of the fruits are bitter, some fruits are sweet. So the bitter fruits are the distress we suffer, and the sweet fruits are the enjoyment we get as the result of our actions in the past. Some actions yield enjoyment as sweet fruit, and some of our previous actions yield us bitter fruit, which is nothing but distress or suffering. The Supreme Being is there inside to witness the activities. Therefore, the Paramatma feature, the Supreme Soul, is actually the witness of all activities of the living being, and only by his direction can the living being remember or forget what he might have done in the past. So he remembers everything and he gives direction to the living being to remember or forget. He is therefore both the all-pervading impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma in everyone's heart. So what is the meaning of this? The Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has got a feature called Brahman feature. Impersonal, all-pervading Brahman. Impersonal because Brahman has no personal features. Brahman is energy. Brahman is the varieties of energy of the Supreme Lord. That is Brahman. And Paramatma is localized. It's in the heart of every living entity. Paramatma is seated. So localized expansion of the Supreme Lord. And that Paramatma actually is the knower of all past, present and future, and nothing can be hidden from him. The devotees know this truth and therefore they discharge their duties sincerely without being overly anxious for rewards. If Paramatma is always active, and Paramatma exactly gives us the result of our own activities of the past according to Kala, then why should we be anxious about the result of any activity we do? If we do properly some activity, Paramatma will give us the proper result. We have to do it properly. But we don't care whether we do actions properly or not, and then expect that somehow I'll get success or I'll get the result I desire. No, that's never going to happen. Besides that, one cannot estimate the Lord's reactions either by speculation or by scholarship. See, what exactly we have done in the past we do not know. Even if somehow somebody were to find out what is the particular reaction for every action, exactly cannot be determined accurately by any human being or any devata. Any created being cannot estimate, cannot find out. Why does he put someone into difficulty and not others? He is a supreme knower of the Vedic knowledge, and thus he is a factual Vedantist. Same time, he is a compiler of the Vedanta. No one is independent of him. Everyone is engaged in his service in different ways. This we have to also understand. What's the meaning of everyone is engaged in his service according to his will? That is, if I don't serve Krishna, which is the case in this material world with most people, then I am forced to serve the dictation of the illusory energy who is directed by Krishna. So indirectly I'll have to follow Krishna, indirectly. So therefore Prabhupada says everyone is engaged in his service in different ways. In the conditioned state, that means our present state of existence, such services are rendered by the living being under force of the material nature. Material nature is forcing us. We cannot say, I won't do anything. We may say like that and sit down, but then we'll be forced to do something by the influence of material modes. Just like a lazy person also is active mentally or can be active even through speech. So actions are performed through the mind, through the words and through the body, external body. So all three types of actions are there. So even a lazy person may be physically not working, but mentally is active, vocally is active. So even the lazy person also is active, we cannot deny that. So the devotees, they are engaged in devotional service in order to please Krishna, and that is the liberated state of the devotee. When any activity is done for the sake of pleasing Krishna, then such activities are all above the gunas, gunatita. So this living beings, either they do devotional service and serve the Supreme Lord for pleasing Him, they are in the liberated state, or somebody doesn't want to do devotional service, wants to be independent of Krishna, then they are forced by material nature to engage in some material activities according to the dictation of the three gunas, the illusory energy, the material energy. So in his actions, the Supreme Lord's actions, there is no incongruity or inebriety. Inebriety means there is no defect. And incongruity means there is nothing illogical or unreasonable or meaningless. Everything is full of meaning. All are on the path of the absolute truth. Everyone, without exception. The conclusion is, therefore, that the sufferings of the representative of religion and the representative of the earth, as present before Maharaj Parikshit, were planned to prove that Maharaj Parikshit was the ideal executive head because he knew well how to give protection to the cows, the earth, and the Brahmanas, religious principles, the two pillars of spiritual advancement. Maharaj Parikshit as a Rajarshi, he knew perfectly. Everyone is under the full control of the Lord, and the Lord himself is always correct in his action when he desires something to be done by someone, irrespective of the consideration of the particular case. So Maharaj Parikshit was put to test for his greatness and how he solves this problem of who is the cause for the suffering of the bull and the cow, that is Dharma and Mother Earth. That we will see in the next verse. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.